It is the summer of Xbox 360 here at Nostalgic Video Games, and to celebrate, we have this fun little exhibit of the Xbox 360 Chronology. So we have every single distinct 360 model, not necessarily every single retail configuration, because then that would just be way too big for a single case. But here we've got 2005 all the way up to 2016. If you didn't see our last video about the Xbox 360, go click this link right here. That's sort of an overview of what we're going to be doing all this summer, celebrating the Xbox 360, talking about its legacy, its successes, and its failures. But without further ado, let's hop into our very first model. The very first model we're going to check out today is called the Xbox 360 Pro, which was technically just called the Xbox 360 by Microsoft, but is now sort of lovingly known as the Pro model because of its tagline, Go Pro. And you know, I'm gonna call it the Pro model for simplicity's sake because we're gonna go over 4 billion different names in this series, and I need to keep things compartmentalized for myself. The Pro is the original model that we all know and love, or hate, depending on your different primary colored ring experiences. A nice, thick, chunky white case with a cool chromed out disc tray, and an included snap-on 20GB hard drive. The included hard drives just sort of slid right on top, snapped right on. This console was the first appearance of the classic 360 wireless controller using two AA batteries on its little backpack here. This controller is just an all-time classic. It fits great in your hands, got really good feeling buttons, and I mean, those colored buttons just scream video games to me. Now, the Pro originally only had composite component output with this sort of proprietary big old chunky trapezoidal plug right there. It was packaged with a combo cable that could do both. But later revisions of the Pro under the same SKU swapped out the actual motherboard, the first of which called the Zephyr in 2007, and then the Falcon in later 2007 and into 2008. Both of those motherboards actually did include an HDMI output, which you can see right here. However, no retail configurations of the Pro actually included an HDMI cable, and you'd have to go and purchase one of those yourself. These motherboard changes came with the Red Ring of Death issue. It was Microsoft trying to combat overheating problems and make these things a bit more reliable. Within all these different models we're going to talk about, there are actually differences in the motherboards, and there are some certain tells, one of the main being having the HDMI port on the back in these first few models. Unless you're planning on modding these systems, the actual motherboard that you have inside isn't quite as important unless if you really want an HDMI out port, which, yeah, I can understand. In 2008, the included 20GB hard drives were swapped out for a beefier 60GB. It's important to note that these original Model 360s do not have onboard Wi-Fi, so you'd have to pick up one of these handy little doodads right here. Now that is some mid-2000s tech for you. These just snapped right on the back here, and then you plugged in the USB cable, and you're all ready to game online. Although these Pro models did have an included Ethernet cable. Thanks, Bill. It also came with a headset so that you could talk to people online. The future is now. The Pro model ran from the original release of the Xbox 360 in 2005 all the way up into 2009. It originally retailed for $399.99, eventually dropping down to $349.99 and then down to $299.99 in 2008. And then following the console's discontinuation, it ran for $250 until stock was depleted. Now, this model did have a few different pack-in titles for different retail configurations. Holiday 2007 bundles came with Forza Motorsport 2 and Marvel Ultimate Alliance. And then my personal favorite, the Holiday 2008 bundle came with LEGO Indiana Jones The Original Adventures and Kung Fu Panda. Most of these came in combo disc cases that had both games in one case. Now, on top of those included pack-in titles, the Pro also had quite a few special editions. The first of which was released in 2007, along with the release of Halo 3. This Pro console sported a green and gold Master Chief color scheme along with some cool Art Deco on it. It also came with a matching controller, and it included 20GB snap-on hard drive with the Halo 3 logo on it. You also got an exclusive dashboard theme because now it's all about customizing that gaming experience. This model did have the HDMI out port, which is pretty cool. This exclusive version originally retailed for $399.99. Now, this Pro only had one other special edition, which was for the Simpsons movie. However, this console wasn't actually available through retail purchase. You had to actually enter a sweepstakes, and only 100 were ever confirmed to be made. This model was yellow and had a picture of Homer Simpson's face as well as the logo of the movie. The actual box of the console was no different from the standard Pro and came with all the standard peripherals. It was just really the console that made the difference. This one is super hard to find nowadays, and if you have one, you better hold on to it. And now we move on to our next model. Yes, this is a different console. The main tell is our disc tray is no longer chrome. This, dubbed the core model, ran alongside the Pro model in 2005. This model had the same exact design with the same case, and the only real difference being that lack of a chrome disc tray. It also had no hard disk drive and no headset. The core is also the only Xbox 360 SKU to include a wired controller. It was the same exact form factor of your standard wireless controller, but it had a wire sticking out the end of it. It was 2005. Wireless controllers were still a relatively new concept. Now, the core included a standard composite cable, not the sort of dual component cable that the Pro came with. And the composite cable was actually not capable of outputting 1080p HD, even though the console itself is. You'd have to go buy a separate component cable if you wanted to do that. The core ran for $299.99, making it $100 cheaper than the flagship Pro model. This one dropped down to $279.99 all the way up until its discontinuation in 2007. This model was compatible with all the different hard drives and everything just like the Pro, it just didn't come with any. You also still needed one of these wireless adapters if you wanted to play online. But a cool thing about these first few models of Xbox 360 is that they also sold these memory units. So instead of buying a big expensive snap-on hard drive to go on the top, you could buy one of these memory units that are reminiscent of a memory card like the GameCube or PS2. These just slotted in right at the front of the console, and you were able to save your games on these cards, and then you could take them and then take it to your friend's house and play your saved games there. Exactly like a memory card. This model itself didn't really have any special editions because it was the core. It was your basic, cheapest version that you could get right at the start, so they opted to give all the fancy special paint jobs to the more expensive Pro. So there we have it. Those were the first two models of Xbox 360 we ever got, the Pro and the core. Which one do you have? Let me know down in the comments. Or if you have one of the later ones, we'll be getting to those in a later video. We always have Xbox 360s available for purchase in our store, Nostalgic Video Games in Florence, Kentucky. We also have an online store, shopnvg.com. It isn't totally finished yet, but when it is, we'll have almost everything you can purchase in the store available for purchase online with free in-store pickup or shipping nationwide. These videos kind of came about because I had to pretty much learn all the differences between these models very specifically so that we could list them properly in our online store just in case someone wanted to order a very specific model. And after doing all that research, I was like, I can make a video on it. So stay tuned for the next installment going over the Xbox 360 chronology, where we'll pick up with something a little more elite. Thanks for tuning in to the Nostalgic Network, and we'll see you next time.